Some places on Earth look like paradise. Calm lakes, quiet valleys, crystal caves, clear blue water. They appear safe, sometimes even sacred. And yet, beneath their beauty, something is waiting. In this video, we will travel to places where danger does not roar or explode. It does not chase or warn. It hides in silence, in heat, in pressure, in chemistry. Patient forces that have already decided the outcome long before a human arrives. These are not stories of bad luck. They are reminders that the planet does not care whether we understand it. Stay with us, because the most terrifying places on Earth are not the ones that look hostile, but the ones that look inviting. Lake Nyos, death from silence. Our journey begins in Cameroon. To the local communities, Lake Nyos had always appeared calm, even sacred. But on the night of August 21, 1986, that sanctuary became a tomb. Deep beneath the surface, inside the crater of an ancient volcano, carbon dioxide had been accumulating for centuries. Trapped under immense water pressure, it lay sealed like a cork in a colossal bottle of champagne. On that fatal night, an invisible trigger, possibly a small landslide on the lakebed, set off what scientists now call a limnic eruption. There was no explosion. There was no warning. It was a silent release, a massive bubble of gas, more than a cubic kilometer in volume, rose soundlessly to the surface. Carbon dioxide is 1.5 times heavier than air, and it poured downhill like an invisible, suffocating blanket, racing through the valleys at nearly 50 kilometers per hour. In 4 nearby villages, people simply fell asleep and never woke up. One survivor, Joseph Quain, later recalled regaining consciousness hours afterward. Everything around him was frozen in place. His wife lay motionless. His daughter was dead. There was an absolute, unnatural stillness, so complete that even insects and birds had been killed. Journalists who arrived later compared the scene to the aftermath of a neutron bomb. The lake itself turned blood red, as iron drawn up from the depths oxidized at the surface. Today, pipes rise from Lake Nyos, continuously venting gas to prevent another catastrophe. But nearby lies Lake Kivu, 50 times larger, and saturated with methane. If released, it holds the potential to kill not thousands, but millions. Sometimes the deadliest forces on Earth do not announce themselves with fire or sound. Sometimes, they arrive in silence. The Kamchatka Valley of Death, a natural gas chamber. Now we move to the opposite edge of the planet, to the harsh and austere beauty of the Kamchatka Peninsula. Here, at the foot of Queimada volcano, lies a small patch of land that has long haunted hunters and explorers alike, the Valley of Death. Its secret was officially uncovered only in 1975, when scientists discovered the banks of a stream littered with animal carcasses. What they found was not an accident, but a system. Nature had engineered a perfect chain of death, a lethal food web with no survivors. From fractures in the rock seeps a toxic cocktail of hydrogen sulfide, sulfur dioxide, and hydrogen cyanide. This last compound is not merely poisonous, it is a true chemical warfare agent. The gas is heavier than air and settles into depressions as a thin, invisible layer, rarely more than 30 centimeters high. The first to die are birds and small rodents. Foxes and wolverines, drawn by the easy prey, descend into the low ground. The moment they lower their heads toward the earth, they take a single fatal breath and collapse beside their meal. Bears, attracted by the smell of carrion, become the next links in this endless conveyor of death. What makes the valley truly disturbing is what doesn't happen here. The bodies barely decompose. Cyanids kill not only animals, but also the bacteria responsible for decay. The valley has become a surreal open-air museum, where time appears to have stopped, preserving hundreds of victims for decades inside this toxic natural crypt. In the Valley of Death, nothing hunts, nothing chases. Life simply steps to low and disappears. Shanaitimpishka, the boiling mystery of the Amazon. Deep in the heart of the jungle, in Peru flows a river that defies the basic rules of geology. Its name is Timpishka, which in the language of the local people means boiled by the sun. Here, the water reaches temperatures of up to 99 degrees Celsius. Just below boiling, for more than 6 kilometers, the river becomes a natural cauldron, steam rising, banks slick with heat, and the strangest detail of all, the nearest active volcano lies more than 700 kilometers away. For decades, the scientific world dismissed stories of this river as myth. That changed when geophysicist Anders Russo proved the truth. Timpishka is not folklore. It is a geothermal paradox. Rainwater seeps deep into the Earth's crust, is heated by mantle energy, and then, under immense pressure, is forced back to the surface through fractures in the rock. No lava, no volcano, just the planet's internal heat, exposed. Anything that falls into this river dies violently. First, the eyes are literally cooked. Then superheated water floods the lungs, and within seconds, soft tissue begins to separate from bone. Death is not dramatic, it is absolute. Local shamans believe the river is the breath of the great serpent Yakumama, the mother of waters. They use its steam for healing rituals, but they also understand its boundary. One misstep on the slippery bank, one moment of carelessness, and a human body becomes part of the river's boiling flow. Timpishka is a reminder that the earth does not need fire to kill. Sometimes, it only needs heat and patience. Bolton Strid, the world's most deceptive stream. In North Yorkshire, England, there is a place that looks like something lifted from a fairy tale. The Bolton Strid, a picturesque stream, so narrow in places that it appears easy to jump across. Calm, inviting, almost playful, and yet, it is the most dangerous stretch of water in England. Its fatality rate is absolute. No one who has ever fallen into the Strid is known to have come out alive. The secret lies in its geology. Here, the river wharf suddenly compresses, from nearly 30 meters wide to barely 2, and then does something far worse. It turns sideways. An immense volume of water, driven by enormous pressure, is forced into a narrow, vertical channel carved deep into the sandstone. Beneath the visible edge of the bank lie vast hidden voids and caverns, what hydrologists call undercuts. If you enter this water, the current does not simply carry you downstream, it drags you under the rock ledge, into a submerged maze with no air pockets and no escape. Powerful vortices and violent turbulence pin the body against stone, breaking bones before the brain can fully register what has happened. Rescue is impossible. Even recovery is rare. The soft gurgling of this gentle stream is not peaceful. It is the sound of water grinding down everything it consumes. At the Bolton Strid, danger does not announce itself. It smiles, waits, and lets gravity do the rest. Queimada Grande, the island taken by snakes. 30 kilometers off the coast of Brazil lies an island called Queimada Grande. From the air, it looks like a tropical paradise. Lush, green, untouched. But no one is allowed to set foot on its soil except military personnel and scientists. This is the only place on Earth where the golden lancehead lives, one of the most venomous snakes in the world. Researchers estimate that, on average, there is at least one of these snakes for every square meter of the island. In some areas, it is impossible to take a single step without treading on scales. The venom of the golden lancehead is 5 times more potent than that of its mainland relatives. It evolved to instantly immobilize birds, preventing them from flying away after being struck. In humans, a bite causes rapid tissue necrosis. Flesh quite literally begins to dissolve and die before the eyes. Local legend tells of the last lighthouse keeper's family, allegedly killed in a single night when snakes slithered into the house through open windows. Today, the lighthouse operates automatically. The island is guarded by the Brazilian Navy, not to protect the snakes, but to prevent curious visitors from wandering into a place where death is not just possible, but virtually guaranteed. Queimada Grande is a reminder that some corners of the earth are not meant to be explored, only respected and left alone. The Cave of Crystals, a crystal coffin. Deep within the Nyos mine in Mexico lies a chamber that looks like the palace of the Snow Queen. Enormous selenite crystals, some reaching 11 meters in length, pierce the space, catching the light of headlamps and glowing with an otherworldly brilliance. It is breathtaking, and it is lethal. Inside the cave, the temperature hovers around 58 degrees Celsius, with humidity close to 100%. For the human body, this is a physiological dead end. We cool ourselves through the evaporation of sweat, but in air this saturated, sweat does not evaporate at all. Heat has nowhere to go. The body begins to cook from the inside. And there is something even more terrifying. The air itself is hotter than your internal organs. When you inhale, moisture from the superheated air condenses directly inside your lungs. You begin to drown in the very air you are breathing. Without specialized cooling suits packed with ice, a person can survive here for no more than 10 minutes. After that come heat stroke, loss of consciousness, and death, entombed among the most beautiful and most merciless crystals on Earth. The Cave of Crystals is a reminder that nature's greatest wonders often exist at the very edge of human endurance, where beauty and extinction share the same breath. Rainbow Valley, Everest's colored graveyard above 8,000 meters. In Everest's so-called death zone, lies a place with a deceptively poetic name, Rainbow Valley. Do not look for flowers or atmospheric light. The valley takes its name from the bright down jackets of climbers who never came back. At this altitude, atmospheric pressure is barely a third of what the human body is built to endure. Every step becomes a negotiation with the oxygen itself. Breathing turns shallow, judgment dulls, movement slows to a crawl. The dead do not decay here. Locked in permafrost, bodies remain exactly as death found them, curled beside the trail, kneeling, or slumped against rock. Recovering a body from this height can cost more than $70,000 and requires the effort of 8 Sherpas, each one risking their own life. Most are never moved, so the mountain keeps them. Some bodies become landmarks. The most famous, known as Green Boots, served 4 years as a navigation point for climbers pushing toward the summit. In Rainbow Valley, the path forward is lined with reminders of failure. To continue upward, climbers must quite literally step over those who did not make it. Passing frozen faces, goggles rimed with ice. Ambitions halted forever by the thin air. Here, ambition meets arithmetic. Above 8,000 meters, the margin for error disappears. And Everest, indifferent and eternal, marks its route not with science, but with the bodies of the fallen. The Blue Hole, the whisper of nitrogen. In Dahab, on the edge of the Red Sea, lies a vertical underwater cavern known simply as the Blue Hole. To divers, it is both a pilgrimage site and a graveyard. Its most lethal feature is a tunnel called the Arch, located at a depth of 55 meters. From above, it appears like a glowing gateway to the open sea. Calm, inviting, almost supernatural, but for many, it has been a one-way passage. At this depth, nitrogen narcosis takes hold, what divers grimly refer to as the martini rule. Every 10 meters of depth affects the brain like a glass of strong alcohol. Judgment fades. Euphoria sets in. A full sense of power takes over. Hallucinations are common. Divers see light at the end of the tunnel. In the crystal clear water, it looks close, reachable. They begin to swim toward it, forgetting to monitor depth, air supply, or time. Instruments are ignored. Reality loosens its grip. The most infamous case is that of Yuri Lipsky, whose camera recorded his final moments. Calm, silent, entranced, he continued descending, past safe limits, past rescue, until he reached the bottom at 115 meters. Along the shore above the Blue Hole, Dozens of memorial plaques line the rocks. Names, dates, short warnings. They stand as a quiet reminder that the ocean does not punish recklessness with violence, but with persuasion. Down there, nothing pulls you in. Nothing chases you. The danger simply whispers and waits for you to agree. These places still exist. Some are carefully monitored. Some are quietly avoided. Others continue to claim lives, not through violence, but through indifference. Nature does not hunt us. It does not hate us. It simply operates by rules that cannot be negotiated. If stories like these, true accounts from the edges of the world, where beauty and danger overlap, fascinate you, consider subscribing. This channel is about real places, real events, and the hidden forces that shape human fate far from comfort and control. If you found this video compelling, support it with a like. It helps more than you might think. And I'm curious to hear from you. Which place in this video unsettled you the most, and why? Let's talk in the comments. More stories are waiting.